Hello, it's Maryon Stewart, and today I'm focusing on premenstrual syndrome and how to get through the holidays without leaving home. It may sound funny, but to people who are suffering, it's anything but funny. Christmas and the New Year can be stressful enough times anyway for us, but when you've got PMS, especially if it's your premenstrual week over the holidays, that's bad luck and it can be a complete nightmare. So I think that obviously time is short and you can't really fix your PMS in the space of a week, but there are things that you can do. You can have some strategies to cope, and I think the first thing is to recognise the fact that it is going to be a challenging week and try and organise yourself so that you haven't got too much on that makes it even more stressful. So we know, for example, from our research at the Women's Nutritional Advisory Service early on, that about 75% of women have PMS. In fact, it was 76% in our survey of 1,000 women. And a lot of those women suffer really severely. And that means that they think about suicide sometimes, they feel depressed, they cry a lot, they just feel like a shadow of their former selves, and very often they describe themselves as Jekyll and Hyde. So in other words, they feel normal for half the month and really anything but normal for the other half. So our programme does address those symptoms, and we are very lucky to have pioneered a programme that helps women to overcome their symptoms completely within the space of 4 months. So it's all naturally based and doesn't include taking any drugs or hormones. And I will be talking about that more in the new year because I'm going to be focusing on the different aspects of PMS and how to deal with them. But for now, because time is short, I want to concentrate on what you can do for yourself during this week and how you can make it a bit easier for yourself and maybe for your family too. So I think, first of all, to try and communicate. I know it's not easy because the last thing you want to admit to is suffering and feeling bad, but actually it's a syndrome and it is a condition, and I think your partner needs to understand that. And in our experience, certainly when they come to know that it's a syndrome that can be addressed and that this isn't a life sentence for either of you, then they buy into it and they help you and they support you. And in fact, in my book, No More PMS, the last chapter was written by men for men because we had partners who were literally sleeping in the garden shed in the week before his wife's period. Another person I can think of that slept in the car. There were women going and initiating divorce proceedings regularly before their periods and not realising that there's any pattern to it. So there's lots of things going on, and I think we need to just calm it down and look at the longer term. But for this particular week, there are things that you can do, like, for example, take time out to do some relaxation. So you can get an app that specialises in relaxation, like Pziz, which is the one I absolutely love. That's PZIZZ. It takes you into a really deep, relaxed state and brings you out again. So it makes you feel like you've had a sleep. So being rested is one thing. Doing some exercise is another, because it stimulates the release of endorphins, the feel-good hormones, and that helps you to rise above some of the PMS symptoms. So if you're not sleeping, you need to make sure that you get some rest during the day. Maybe ask your partner to hold the fort so you can go off and do your relaxation session and have a bit of a nap. It's also important to make sure that you have good food little and often, because in your premenstrual week, not many people know this, but your calorie requirements go up by about 500 calories a day. So you actually have a physiological need for more good nutrients. So having breakfast and lunch and dinner isn't really enough. You may need a snack mid-morning and a snack mid-afternoon and maybe something in the evening too. And what you could do is, if you think you're having too much food, is just make your main meal portion sizes a bit smaller. So that will help you to feel good or feel better than you were feeling. I think it's important also to cut out alcohol. I know it's Christmas and New Year, but certainly to cut down on it, because it can make you feel worse. And in fact, it makes some people feel terrible. So just having either some watered down wine or maybe some tonic water in a glass, pretending you're having a gin and tonic, or having something else in a glass, a wine glass that makes you feel like you're having a drink, can be a good idea. And to also make sure you keep off the junk food. And I have patients who eat before they come on the programme, at least half a dozen chocolate bars. And this is a time when there's chocolate in the house, people are giving you gifts. It's really hard, but make sure you've got plenty of sweet things that you can have as an alternative. So you can have some biscuits. Just keep off the chocolate. Don't have too many sweet things. Try and have nuts and seeds and nut and fruit bars, or rice pudding with some sugar-free jam, or you can make yourself some pancakes and some stewed fruit to go in the middle. Anything, maybe even bake a cake if you like baking, or buy something that's a bit more wholesome so that you're doing something nice for yourself. And caffeine in the form of tea and coffee, as well as hot chocolate, is really a no-no, because that can make you feel really anxious. It can make you feel much worse. You may get withdrawal symptoms coming off it, so you can either cut down over a few days or just bite the bullet and do it, knowing that you can maybe feel a bit ratty and warn people. And get some herb tea, something like red bush tea, which you can make with milk like ordinary tea, or you could cut up some fresh ginger with some lemon and maybe some hot water and dip in the red bush tea bag, or mint tea, fruit teas, that kind of thing instead. So I think the thing to do is communicate. Make sure that everyone's on the same page and they understand the challenges you're going through. Make some dietary changes for yourself, get plenty of treats in, and hold the front page, because we're going to be talking about all sorts of ways that you can control your PMS in the longer term, in the new year. If you want some more information, there's the book No More PMS on my website, which my new website's going live hopefully today or tomorrow. You can download a document which will give you some tips as well. So that's just maryonstewart.com, and hopefully that will help too. So I'll come on again in a few days and talk a bit more. I have actually set up a group called No More PMS on Facebook. So if you suffer or you know anyone who does, send them over to join us, because we're going to be sharing a lot of stories and supporting each other. And also there'll be lots of useful information in the coming weeks and months to help people to overcome their symptoms. So thanks very much for listening, and hopefully this helped you or someone you know. Bye for now.